Hey, so now we're going to play some video inside Ableton with Max for Live. For this, we're going to use a Max audio effect, drag it over here, and we're going to ignore the whole audio stuff for now. We'll just leave it as it is. And we're going to add a little video player. So the easiest way to play a video in Max is to drag it into here. This creates a playlist object. We're going to connect this to a JIT world object. There we go. And connect this here. Now, this isn't playing because we have to enable it. So either we enable it with a toggle, or we say it's always enabled by calling it at enable automatic rendering 1. So it's activated. Here we go. Okay. Let's save this to see if it works. We put it in our folder where we have our devices, and we call it video. Let's call it Video Sampler. There we go. Okay. Double click here. We see the window. Perfect. Okay. Now we want to have multiple videos. With this playlist object, you can drag multiple videos into the same object. So I'll just grab some more here. 2, 3. Now this gets a bit small. We can loop these. We can have define regions. And here we go. Okay. Now we can also control this with a number. So, for example, an int. Okay. So 0 stops, 1 starts the first video, 2 starts the second video, 3 starts the third video. And instead of using a native Max object, let's use one of the live objects, so we can actually automate this from Ableton. So we're going to play up to 127 videos. Why not? Integer. I think the unit style is fine. The others don't really make sense. Line this up, and we want to have an interface, so I add these two to presentation mode, and remember to put the patch into open in presentation. Here we go. Arrange it. So this is to choose the video file. You can make this bigger. Let's call it index for video index. There we go. And if I go back here, oh, I guess we want to start all these. Let's check. Oh. I think the problem here is that it outputs a float instead of an int. Type float, yes. So we want this as an int, because if we send floats in here, it doesn't understand floats. Even if that float is an integer number, for the computer it's still a float. Whereas now this works. And it would be nice to have this window floating, so it's always on top. So we can say add floating 1. Here we go. Now it's always on top. Okay, so you don't have to look for it. That should work. Save. Okay. Yeah, window is on top. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm doing this with my mouse, and instead of controlling it with my mouse, we want to control it with a little MIDI controller. So I've plugged in a MIDI controller to my computer here. It should show up here, MIDI ports in. Oh, it's off. Turn it on. Yes. Here we go, in OPZ. And I want it to work as a remote. Oops. Remote. And now, if I go into MIDI mapping, this appears here, and we can map it to the controller. Now, whoops. I can control it from my MIDI controller.